Evening, friends. So, second round of the NRL Supercoach final series was determined by To'o and Alamotti. And personally, I removed To'o from the side, brought in Karaz, which looked okay on the surface until the extra 50 odd points there. So, congrats to anyone who are on those two and even got a VC or a captaincy correct. You'd be storming up these ranks. Now, a 918 put me in the top 16% for the week and the top 11% overall now, in at 5,370. So it's okay, but I'd need a couple of really big sort of performances this week. And when we are looking at the options heading into this week, this is actually the team that I've thrown together heading into the two fixtures we've got here in Melbourne versus the Sharks, and then Broncos up against the Panthers. And when you're looking at that, you're probably going, well, where's the potential for big points going to be? And last week it was Panthers up against the Dogs, most likely going to be those bigger points, and that's where if you went for the outside backs as your sort of flex, and that worked out well. Personally, I went Blaze Talangi in at 5/8, and then I did go Edwards, who scored okay, and Cleary obviously as captain, but you need those outside backs. And which one of these type of games could produce that? And really, you're potentially looking at that first game with Melbourne, the way that things can go and likely are going to go. We're probably every chance of seeing Melbourne versus Penrith again in the final, but that is one that feels like if Melbourne come and turn up to play, that they can put on some points. But I'm also personally expecting Broncos and the Panthers game to have a bit of juice in it points wise and be a bit of a duel, sort of a 4 to 6 tries each type of game, and Melbourne Sharks could be a little bit shorter on that front. But when you are looking in certain positions, you're seeing guys that some guys that have that upside and that potential for upside, and then there's others that don't. Now, when you're looking at hooker, it's Brayley with his 67.5 average, or it's Harry Grant. And every day of the week, it should be Harry Grant that has the chance to go the 110, 120 in this type of matchup. For the front row forwards, you're looking at Payne Haas being the guy that could likely go the biggest. Number 2, you'd probably say Adam Fanua-Blake, even though he has been struggling a little bit. You got Stefano that's really come into form in the last month, so I'd probably have him at number 3. And generally, there's not too much else from there. Isaiah Papali'i, he's had 2 really good games, but it's 78s off the bench that is the sort of max that he's going to be able to muster. Unfortunately, with the minutes that he's going to be getting. Now in round 1, Eli Katoa was the big guy and picked up a massive score there of 110. And I think he has the highest chance again of being able to perform that well. When you're looking at guys like Martin and Billy Burns, even Isaiah Yeo, Wilton, they're all guys that are averaging pretty well where you'd probably hope and expect. Yeo can go higher than that. We've seen it before, but Eli Katoa is the guy that has the clear upside advantage in the second row forward. So it's very, very hard to pick a little bit different in those first 3 positions, to be honest with you there, because they are the clear potential upside guys. Whereas that's where centre wing and these types of positions can change things. But in halfback, you've got someone like Jerome Hughes that could come in and do a good job. You've got Nico Hines and then Nathan Cleary, the 3 guys that you could have a look at. But Cleary very clearly has the best potential for upsides. He comes in there. We probably keep one of the captaincy or vice on him. But if you're looking to have a bit of a slam dunk type play, then that's where you can go for a different captaincy or vice with somewhat of a similar team. That's how you can get ahead, is the triple captain points is awesome. Now, if you're looking at the 5/8 position, you had a really good game from Pezzett, but he's out now with Hughes returning. Ben Hunt, I'm not expecting him to go absolutely bonkers in this one coming up. We've got Reynolds back as well that we mentioned there. So in 5/8, it's very, very clearly Munster. Like, we've had a look at Talangi. I grabbed him last week, but he just doesn't look to be the main focal point now the team's playing so much better. So really, it looks like Munster. And then for the centre wingers, you've got a few guys now. Alamotti could go around him again and hope for another great performance. He'll be a little bit more scouted out now that he played so well, but they also have the other side and just the whole team to scout. So it's a hard one. They could both, him and To'o, do really well. You had Mulatalo and Iro both have cracking games as well on that left-hand side. And then you're coming into seeing, Katoni Staggs with 111 in his first game. So this right here is where you'd want to make a bit of a pod move and hope that one of these guys comes off and has a really, really good game of like a 121, 180 would be nice. And that's how you can push yourself back into the sort of top 1% and give yourself an opportunity in the grand final. So a collection of those guys would make the most sense. You've got Shibasaki, you've got Warbrick that can all have decent games as well. And outside of that, Xavier Coates, we know he can have it, score a triple and go for 100 and things like that as well. So pretty cool on that one at the moment. To'o's just sitting there before things roll out. Now the fullback position, it's very clearly one of three guys. It's Edwards, it's Walsh, or it's Pat. Walsh by far is playing the best footy. Well, he's playing the best footy in the game right now. So that's where you'd be very hard pressed not to have him in your side and at least have a VC or the captaincy on him. Now there wasn't too many big decisions, and that's where having chucking a bit of a flyer on two centre wings could be cool. Going Elamotti and To'o worked last week if you wanted to jump on one of those other guys I mentioned, or Nico Hines if you want to pair with Cleary. A really good game last week. How's he going to go up against Melbourne, and is it better to take a flyer on one of the cheaper guys? That's sort of generally where we're thinking, and that's the squad that I'm throwing out there as of now. It's Cleary captain and Reece Walsh with the VC as well. But to finish it off, guys, we're here to check out the leagues, and I'm currently 16th out of the 75 in the JBFA. We've got James up top, Simon in second. How are they sitting? So what am I at? 16th on 1859. So 1972 puts them in a pretty good spot there. It doesn't give us actual rankings, which is a bit annoying. But the public league there, we've got Casey and Phillip up top, almost at 2,000 as well. We got the ball at 3K finals, 2-1-1-7. So yeah, really, really good games there. Already 300 points behind. So got to make some pod moves like someone like Simon did. I think Elamotti as VC, and then Cleary as captain. It didn't bother taking Burton's score, and had Euro in centre as well. So making some different moves did pay off for him and has put him in first place in that league there, which is awesome. So they're the kind of things you need to do, but it probably means, a couple of centre wings and hope that, and maybe not captain on Cleary and go for a bit of a pod and hope that those big captainers have a stinker and have a 20 or 30 or 40 and their score, well, it might just count. But if they go like a 25 and they get a 50, it'd be 75 for captain. But if the VC struggles and gets a 50, then their score won't even count. You don't get double points. So that kind of stuff is what I'd be hoping for if I'm going for a bit of a different pod type play. So we'll leave that one there, guys, for NRL finals in round 2. Was a pretty fun couple of games in some ways, just seeing a few of these teams like the Sharks go out and have a good one and for their fans, and a tough one for the Raiders and also the Doggies. But I suppose that was somewhat expected against the Panthers, who just look absolutely red hot. So good luck if your teams are still in, and good luck in the NRL Finals Supercoach if you're doing pretty well. So cheers, guys. Have a good one.